Hello everyone, welcome to the first video from Comicast on the Rocks. My name is John and I'm joined by no one. Normally we have Podcast on the Rocks, which is a regular podcast show, weekly show that I do with Andrea. Hopefully you're familiar. If not, go ahead and check that out. This is a new thing doing on the side. I'm going to be talking about some of the comics I've been reading. I grew up with reading a lot of comic books. In my small town, we didn't have access to a lot. You kind of go to the local drugstore and they have their little spinning rack of a few things. And even then, as a kid, it started to, fade. There weren't many options, and I kind of took what I could get. So I really treasured the times that I go to the bigger city and there'd be stores like, there'd be comic book shops or stores at Spencer's I always went to, and they had a lot of comic books. So I would stock up then. Otherwise, I got into, I subscribed to a lot of comics after I found out what I really liked, which was a lot of X-Men. I subscribed to a lot of various X-Men books throughout the years, as well as from the DC side of things, some Batman ones. So that's my brief history with comic books, I guess. But more recent, I think like plenty of people, I've not found too much to enjoy from the American comic book industry. I've been more on the manga bandwagon, and that's kind of too bad, because I know there's good stuff out there, and with the launch of the Rippaverse, it's really sort of reignited my passion for these kinds of stories, these kinds of comic books, and so I'm giving American comics another chance, and finding there's a lot more out there. So I've been getting back issues, older things. If it's from Marvel and DC, I always buy it used. So just something older, either whether it's from the comic book shop or whatever. And but yeah, I've got kind of a list of books I'm going through. I've got some Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns that I have on order. Some of them are here that I need to read yet. And so over the next coming weeks, going to be talking about what I've read and giving you my thoughts. So to start with, I have Daredevil Yellow. I hadn't heard of this. Growing up, I was not really familiar with Daredevil much. There was a bookstore I recall going a number of times, and they would have some Daredevil issues that I thought looked really cool. They were kind of darker, but it came down to it ultimately always came down to, do I want to buy this X-Men and Star Wars comic, or try this new Daredevil thing that at the time was honestly probably a little mature for what I was looking for. So, but I had read The Long Halloween, so by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. It's one of my favorite Batman graphic novels. Not that I've read too many. I've read, issue by issue, a number of different arcs. But as far as reading in a graphic novel format, The Long Halloween, I think a lot of people are going to hold it up as a classic, and I think it deserves it personally. I haven't read it in years, but that was great. And then the follow-up, Dark Victory, that was good as well, though not as good in my opinion. And then I also read Catwoman When in Rome. I bought those issues. So I've always liked everything that I've seen from Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. They've been good in my book. And so when I found out about this Daredevil Yellow, because I was actually in a comic book shop flipping through back issues, and I found one of the issues, and so then they didn't have the others, so I went online and ordered a used copy of the book. So I don't know how I missed out on this, because there's also Hulk Gray and Spider-Man Blue, which Spider-Man Blue seems hard to find. Spider-Man's big, so I can see that. Anyways, I won't look through too much of this, because I don't know what the rules are on looking through and talking about other people's art and such. But there's a cool opening introduction in this book by Stan Lee, so that's pretty nice. And then there's a really the art style here is on brand for sure. It's what you come to expect from the team. But I will say, they talk about in the end about the colors. So the inks, the pencils are done in black and white per usual, but the coloring, then they mention it in the back of this book about the way they tried to get the watercolor look. And I think personally that the watercolor look really works out well for this. So it's a different take. I think the art is good. They have these really nice 2-page spreads. Just the colors just really adds something else to it, this watercolor looking stuff. It's, as far as the story goes, it is, I didn't know what to expect exactly, but I enjoy it quite a lot. It manages to, sometimes there are some comics that I've read, and maybe I haven't read enough of them, but they seem to go back to the same well a lot for enemies and for the issues. There's sometimes big events. I think of Iron Fist. I've tried a number of different Iron Fist comics, and mostly not the older ones, so I would really have to, I suppose, go back and give them another shot. But where it's always dealing with the same people and the same deal. Oh, Kunlun is in trouble, kind of thing. Oh, we gotta have a tournament to what, I don't know. It just seems repetitive. And this book manages to talk about, here, look at, I just like the eyes and the expressions done here. And like this, like these nice milky, dark, really, I shouldn't say milky, I should say inky blacks. Really nice. Anyways, the story manages to be talking about Karen and the love story there while feeling new. It's sort of a Wikipedia listed this, and I think it was them. They talked about how this was kind of like a sitcom-y almost thing. I think that is a really weird way to put it myself. I think it's like a trip down memory lane, and it's done really well. It ends up being heartfelt. There's surprising some of the people that they involve in this. And honestly, I enjoy in this instance the yellow suit. I think that's pretty cool too. So yeah, and look at these kind of the city. There's almost, it's like black and white in a lot of it, but then you bring in a little bit of color, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of the style. As I talked about a lot, I'm really into manga, but there's definitely art styles that kind of the industry seems to go in and so it's refreshing when you get something different. I feel like sometimes you get that variety a little more historically in Western comics, and this is definitely in the bucket of unique and different. So, story, good. It's heartfelt without being sappy. I can see it's not complicated, but it's relatable. The penciling, the actual art is pretty dynamic. It's nice. It's unique. Definitely in, like I say, on brand for these guys. The coloring really makes it stand out. The coloring is really, again, like here, like this cityscape, just really using up this black. That's nice. You know, there's a lot of books, you know, either read Batman or whatever and stuff like that. You use blue for your blacks, and obviously you get blue in here for dark colors, but they're not afraid to go black. So, all right, I won't show any more of the inside. If you're interested, I think it's a good pickup. You can find it online, used, which I would recommend getting it, or in a comic book shop, used. But it gets my praise, my approval, and I'm kind of looking at, as I say, trying to get into the other Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale color books. So Hulk gray, Spider-Man blue. I think there was a Captain America white, maybe. So be interesting. Anyways, that's the first video for Comicast on the rocks. You know, for the first video, I probably should have had something on the rocks. The idea there is, you know, a drink, a cocktail, something, whiskey on the rocks. But it's the middle of the day right now, and I'm not feeling it, I guess. So next time, I'll do better.